Welcome to my channel. My name's George and that behind me is South Coast Karting. It's a business that I've been working on for 20 years. But how did I find myself in a position to become the owner of a kart circuit? Well, it all started back in 1993. I was 8 years old and I started racing karts. I raced throughout the 90s into the early 2000s and had a stint in Formula Ford as well, winning some races and championships along the way in both karts and single-seaters. It didn't take long into my single-seater career that I ran out of money, and like many, the racing dream was over. My focus for the past 20 years has been on building South Coast Karting, and after 20 years it's time that I got back in the seat. I've had a few races here and there, mainly in karts. My last race was actually in an MGB GT at Castle Combe back in 2022, where I managed to win and set the circuit lap record. After 20 years, I've decided it's time to get behind the steering wheel again and back where I belong. I don't know what I'm going to race, I don't even know where I'm going to race. But if you subscribe to my channel, you can jump on the journey with me and we'll find out.
Number 9 there, George Lovell starting grid 7, siding through into third now. Number 9, who's the hot shot off the grid? Here comes Lovell. George Lovell coming to the field is 9 George Lovell. They're coming from the 8th row. Here he takes the lead at the flag. It's Lovell. Here comes Lovell.
The truth is, I haven't got £500,000 spare to buy myself a touring car drive. Even the cheapest formulas of circuit racing can cost tens of thousands of pounds. I simply don't have the cash and I definitely don't have the time. The aim for 2025 is to get back on the circuit without spending an absolute fortune, and that is where this comes in. I have bought a 2004 MX-5 semi-prepared track car. We're already sitting on gold gas shocks, which give us dampening and rebound, a roll bar just in case it goes wrong, and upgraded brakes, along with some semi-slick tyres. We're almost ready for the track. Now, because a lot of the work has already been done, before we go on track, it will just be a case of checking the fluids and then getting it on the track ready for its first outing. Then, from there, we can make a plan to make it better. So there she is, my little MX-5. I'm going to give the car a good once over, book in for a track day, and we'll see what it can do. So it's been 2 weeks since I've owned this MX-5, and I'm just going to give you a quick recap on what we've done so far. Previous owner included a decap pipe, so we fitted that. Anyone that knows anything about the MX-5 will know that they are prone to rust. My particular MX-5 is pretty clean underneath, and I wanted to keep it that way. So I gave it a rust protection treatment called Lanagard, a really simple process of spraying the product under the chassis to keep it in as good condition as possible for as long as possible. We've checked the oil, and I've decided to use the Castrol Edge 530. We popped in a new standard air filter. Eventually I will get a induction kit, but for now I just want to make sure it's as efficient as it can be without spending an absolute fortune. So without doing any major modifications, we've given the car a simple check over, made sure we're ready to go for our first outing. You might have noticed the car is actually on a trailer ready to go, and that's because we have got a track day booked, which is tomorrow. So let's get there and see how we get on. So we have made our way down to Brands Hatch for an MSV track day. I say it's a track day, it's more like a test day with the cars that are here. The last time I was here was in a Formula Ford.
Another one for good measure, and now he's got George Lovell right up behind him as well. Behind Philip Glue is George Lovell, who went well in the Winter Series last year for the BRDC Single-Seater Championship. Being attacked by George Lovell as well. Almost 3 abreast coming uphill. This is proper Formula Ford racing. Smith. Then for third place, the rest of them come barreling across the line. Allison, Glue, then Perez, then George Lovell. Great scrap going on here. The Peter Chambers run, Miguel with a Scholar engine. Julian Yap did very well indeed at Donington back in April. Hasn't really gone as well since, but looking to make amends here. Meantime, two race leaders then now. Ben Klukas and Darwin Smith turn their way out of clearways. Allison third, Glue fourth, Perez, Lovell, Ben Godwin and Daniel Clark, and those two are still together, continuing their battle of earlier on Wesley Godwin's car, and they are still battling their way now up through the order. They're in the top 10. That's good news for them. What we've got though now is the whole field concertinaing up once again. You can see it. A whole queue of cars, 4 of them, 5 of them, 6 of them, 7, 8 of them in fact for the lead now. Race leader Ben Klukas now getting away a little bit. Darwin Smith having to fend off the pressure of those behind. He's got Matthew Allison glued to his gearbox. With Allison, he's cleared it very wide. There goes Antonio Perez. George Lovell has a look at the inside and he should be able to go by their side-by-side. Lovell on the inside, Perez on the outside there. George Lovell noses ahead as they come past the pits. They're right on the tail of the pair of them there, the Red Miguel and Wesley Godwin.
But that was then, and this is now. Back to the reason that we're here at Brands Hatch today. Let's jump in the MX-5 and see how we get on. So this is actually the second run out on the circuit. I have been out already and just done a little shakedown session just to make sure everything felt okay. And I thought I'd just do a little compilation of some of the cars that we managed to pass in the first proper run of the day. We've actually got a 116 race car in front of us that we're chasing there, and we managed to pass one as well. This little Peugeot was pretty quick in a straight line. We did manage to get past just around about the start finish line. The opposite side to where I did that move in the Formula Ford. And the same again with this old school Mini. You'll see that a little bit later on in the clip as well. Really cool little car, that one. As we come up on this Porsche Boxster, out having some fun today. He actually drove his car to the circuit, so you can drive to these track days as well. And there's that 116 race car. This driver actually finished 4th in the championship last year. I was chatting to him in the pits, so he knows how to drive. Past the Fiesta there. He's got a yellow cross on the back, which means he is racing, but it does mean he's a novice driver, so he's probably new to the sport. And I mentioned that old Mini, and there he is on the outside, broken down, which did mean that the session had to come to an end for his recovery. So we made our way back into the pit lane, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to try some different suspension settings. Now I am going to show you exactly how easy it is to change the suspension settings on your car as long as you've got the right suspension fitted in the first place. It's a really simple process that anyone can do. Now if you have adjustable suspension fitted, you'll have something that looks like this. And it's that knob there that you move left or right, clockwise or anti-clockwise, to adjust the stiffness of your suspension. It's a simple process that I'll try and demonstrate now for you. So you grab the knob and you move it one way or the other. You don't even need any tools. It's as simple as that. It takes a matter of seconds to do, and there you've adjusted your settings and handling of the car. Now mine has 15 different set options, so what you need to do to find the center point to start the day is move the dial all the way to the left or all the way to the right, so wind it all the way in or all the way out, and then click back half of how many preset options there are. That way you'll find the center point and have a good starting point to go from. So we jumped on track for another session, and after making the suspension stiffer, the car definitely felt more responsive. I didn't play with the suspension too much, as the main aim of the day was to get back on track, set some laps, and make sure the car didn't fall apart. The only other thing that is worth considering on a track day are your tyre pressures. Now we're running the Accelera 651 Sports. I found 25 psi cold worked for me, with the pressures rising to around 30 psi hot. Now your car, tyre make, driver, track and the weather will all affect what the tyre pressures will need to be. A good starting point is somewhere around 25 to 27 psi, and you can't go too far wrong. Your pressures will want to rise around about 5 psi between cold and hot, so as long as you check the pressures when you come in, you'll know roughly if you're in the right area. Now the last thing we're going to do is just run through the track, do a few laps, and I'll give you a bit of a track guide in case you do find yourself on a track day here at Brands Hatch Indy. So we're going to pick this lap up round Clearways and down through the Clark Curve and onto the Brabham Straight, where you want to position your car alongside the pit wall as you drive down the Brabham Straight towards the start finish line. If you go too far left, which some people tend to do, you travel a much further distance and you lose time. You don't need to pull left out onto the racing line into Paddock Hill Bend. The normal curvature of the circuit will lead you out to the left naturally. Dab of brake, turn in for a mid-apex, and then use all of the exit available up the hill into Druids. So as you come up the hill, you want to be fully on the left hand side, getting prepared to brake just under the bridge, downshift if need be too, get the front end in, on the brakes turn in for a mid apex through Druids, open up the steering wheel, apply the power and use all of the track available over to the left hand side on the exit. You need to get the car back over to the right as you come down the hill into Graham Hill Bend, and then brake, look through the corner. You want to aim to apex on the curb here, just where those bollards are, and then use all of the track on the exit as you come onto the Cooper Straight. So you'll be on the right hand side on the Cooper Straight, heading down into Surtees, which is a fast left-hander corner. As you come into Surtees, you do want to dab the brakes, helps get the front end in, middle apex and ride the curb, and then you want to be on the power over the curb and up through into McLaren. Again, brake, downshift into McLaren, which brings you into Clearways, and then here get the car in, apex, and then back on the power down through Clark Curve and onto the Brabham Straight. I was probably a bit narrow here, I could have used more track on the exit, but I'm still driving the car around 80-85%. I'm not fully familiar with it yet, and it is still a road car, so without a roll cage it didn't feel the safest on the track. So here we go for one more lap around the Brands Hatch circuit at full speed. So there we go, up into Paddock Hill Bend, we're braking, turning in, middle apex, back on the power, down the hill, using all of the track on the exit, out onto the rumble curbs there, downshift and brake under the bridge, get the car in for a middle apex and then squeeze that power on the exit using all of the track available on the left hand side, back over to the right of the track into Graham Hill Bend, onto the curb there, then use all of the track available on the right hand side, up the Cooper Straight and into Surtees. As I said, dab of brakes, get the front end in onto the curb and then power up through into McLaren, where we're going to be braking, bit of a downshift into the corner, settle the car down and then get back on the power onto the Brabham Straight to complete another lap of the Brands Hatch circuit. Hopefully that gives you some idea of what to expect if you find yourself at Brands Hatch Indy and out on a track day like myself today. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching those laps, and that completes the Brands Hatch track guide. In Brands Hatch, where I have had a fantastic day out on the circuit in my new toy. MSV track day didn't disappoint. Plenty of track time. I think I did about 2 hours driving in total, more than enough for me and certainly more than enough for the Mazda. We have developed a few little issues. We've got an exhaust blowing and we've got the ABS light on, so they need fixing before we go out next time, and I've already made an order for some little performance upgrade parts too. The 1.8 VVTi Mazda MX-5 did not disappoint. The VVTi is a bit like Honda's VTEC. You build those revs up, as they build, the power kicks in. For an 1800, it did shift well. We kept up with some cars that we probably shouldn't have, and we've had a fun day in the process. Now there's loads of little jobs I want to do to the car over the next few weeks and months. Those jobs will have to wait until another video. If you've got any suggestions of things that you think you would like to see me do to my car, pop them in the comments below and we'll take a look. If you have enjoyed the video today, please remember to subscribe to the channel to follow my progress. My next outing isn't actually too far away, so I'll see you on the next one.
Here comes level.